Live from the Sinister district and the great beyond. Good evening, everyone, everything, and all creatures of the night. I'm Michael Paul, alongside Mr. Curbs. Tonight we explore fairies, cryptids, and the haunting legends of Loveland Castle. Stay right where you are. You're listening to the Sinister district. Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Sinister District. I'm Michael Paul, alongside Mr. Curbs, and tonight's special guest, Derreck. Derreck has seen a fairy, and he's also had other encounters, such as a ghost, I believe. So, I've never seen a fairy personally. I don't know about you folks, but Derreck has seen a fairy. I don't know what that entails. Tinkerbell, maybe? I'm not sure. So he's going to explain what he means by that, and also his ghost story, which should be a little spooky. So sit back, relax, folks, and buckle in, because this is a good one, and we hope you all enjoy it. So, Derreck, welcome on to the show. How are you?
I'm awesome. Thank you guys for having me so much.
It is our pleasure. So, this fairy. What does this fairy entail, Derreck?
Okay, so about 10 years ago is when I had my encounter. I woke up one morning, I looked outside my window, and I kind of neglected mowing my yard for a while, and the weeds were up pretty high, and I saw something that looked to me like a dragonfly at first. And I lifted my head up a little bit, and I looked out a little bit closer, and it was not a dragonfly. It looked to me what can be closest to described as a fairy. It was about the size of a dragonfly. It had wings, but the body was humanoid. Its body was wrapped up almost in like a leaf. My guess is some kind of clothing, maybe. It fluttered about for a little bit, and then it looked at me, and then it flew away. And it wasn't a long-lasting encounter, but it was a encounter that left a long-lasting effect on me. Naturally, I was amazed and thought I was crazy, but as I research it a little bit further, I think the belief in them may not be as crazy as people think.
Now, what do you mean by a humanoid thing covered in leaves? Like, was it wearing a leaf outfit or something? Or was just...
That's what it looked like to me, like it was a clothing kind of.
Oh, okay. And what time of the year was this?
I want to say it was around the summertime. It was warm. Yeah, and like I said, I kind of neglected mowing for a little bit. And I want to say this is around 2016, I think.
Huh. Did it make any noise?
No, I didn't hear anything because I had my window closed, but I could still visually see it. Yeah, it was. It's definitely the kind of thing that makes you question your sanity, but all I can say is it looked real to me.
Like how what was like the approximate like size of it?
To me it seemed like dragonfly size. It wasn't huge, but it was big enough. It was to be perceptible from a distance. It's hard to give an exact inches estimate, but the size was probably around dragonfly.
And you're like 100% sure it was like, like it had like humanoid features and everything, it wasn't just you seeing a dragonfly?
Yeah, it was a dragonfly. I discernibly could tell the humanoid features, arms, legs, face. Yeah, it looked at me for a brief second, and as soon as it noticed me, it flew away in fear. And it's crazy because as far-fetched as it seems today, it wasn't that long ago that people took it very serious. In fact, Walt Disney himself was part of a secret society that investigated fairies, called the Fairy Investigation Society.
That's so interesting. I mean, that's got to be part of the reason why he's created some of these characters in the movies that are fairies. That makes sense now.
Oh yeah, yeah. And the thing that's funny too is when I read that, I took it with a grain of salt. I thought, well, he couldn't really believe that. But as I researched it further, belief in fairies was a prerequisite. You had to believe it. And also, the writer of Sherlock Holmes, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, was a huge believer in it too. He wrote a whole book about it called "On the Coming of the Fairies" in 1920, where he goes into the history of fairies, his belief in it. Um, and I mean, it's something that sounds crazy, but not that long ago, people really took it seriously.
What color was it?
The skin appeared pale, and yeah, the skin was palish, I would say.
Well, like, was it like a human skin color, or it was like, you know?
Yeah, it was humanoid. To me, it looked female. I thought I could. It's, to the best of my knowledge, my memory, it did appear femalish, based on the head and the hair. Yeah, it's wild, but that's what it seemed to me, man.
Wearing like clothes?
To me, it looked like his body was wrapped up in like a leaf or grass, maybe.
And like what did like the wings look like?
Almost dragonflyish, stereotypical, fairy tale looking wings. As wild as it seemed.
I mean, do you have any idea what it was like doing before it saw you?
No, I'm not really sure. Like, it just looked like something flying around the way any bug would, except it was just hanging out.
It's just hanging out.
And until it saw me. Yeah. And then as soon as it saw me, it said nope and hightailed it. And yeah, it's crazy because if you look into the history of fairies, they're typically depicted as female, and if you go back far enough, they're based on, well, our beliefs as it goes back to something called a Perry, the closest thing to it, and it was like almost like an angel that was like a malevolent force. It wasn't like a happy little fairy that we know of now in movies. It was considered an evil thing, and that motif continues into the Middle Ages too, where fairies were not nice. They weren't good. And so, as cool as it was to see something like that, it almost makes you think, what if it was a malevolent thing? Because historically, that's the way they were perceived and looked at, as not something good. And in fact, if you want to look at it from a religious angle, many people in the Middle Ages thought fairies were demons. They were known to kidnap people, murder people, abduct children. So I'm not really sure if what I saw was something good or something bad, but yeah, man, that's the history as best I know it.
This is so strange. Ah. And so it just flew away. No other fairies or other things in sight.
No, it saw me and noped out, which, to be fair, I do that when I see most people too.
And was there any like spiritual things going on in your life at that time, or like, are you religious or?
Yeah, I am. I grew up Christian. Actually, not to take a dark angle, but around that time, I did research the occult a little bit, Aleister Crowley and Satanism. It's one of those things where I think you have to know your enemy. So again, it kind of makes you wonder, could it be a benevolent force? Because if you are a Christian, I think it's entirely possible that demons have the ability to take form of anything they want in order to deceive you. So maybe it was copying a motif that seemed harmless to enter into my life. I'm not sure. I just, some of those things I keep an open mind toward, you know?
But you really think it's like an evil thing? You sense that?
Well, it's one of those things where I want to think it was something special that I was lucky enough to see, but I it doesn't necessarily comport to a Christian worldview. And the most references I have to go off of, based on ancient Christians, was the belief that they were demonic entities.
Mm.
Which I'm open-minded on that, but I understand that viewpoint, and I lean sympathetic towards that.
And so after this experience, did you do some research and did you know of this? Did you know of fairies before this? Like, did you have an interest in this or no? Probably not, right?
No, no. I mean, I watched Disney movies growing up. But that was about it. It wasn't until after
Right.
this happened that I went on a research spree and just wanted to see, am I going crazy? You know, it reminds me of, I'm not sure you've ever seen the X-Files, but its creator Chris Carter talked about how the two agents, Scully and Mulder, represented his desire to want to believe in the supernatural, but be skeptical about it too, not want to be duped. And the Mulder in me wants to say, "Oh my God, I saw a fairy! It's so awesome!" But the skeptic is like, "Did I leave my window open and like inhale fumes from the meth lab down the street?" I mean, I I know to me what I saw feels real to me, but it's one of those things that it does make you question your own sanity. So, for obvious reasons, I don't exactly share it often.
Yeah. But you know it was there. It wasn't like a reflection, right?
No, no,
3D.
I saw it.
You saw it.
3D.
Reflection?
I don't
It
know.
it wasn't very.
It's through a
It didn't
window.
last long, but
You never know.
If it was a reflection, that means the fairy would have been inside his house.
Well, you know what I mean. Would you want to see it again, if possible?
oh man, if well, it depends. If it's a benevolent force, that'd be awesome. But if it's evil, I like to stay with fairies.
What'd you do like after you saw it? Like, what was like your first, I guess, action after you saw it? Were you just like shocked?
Yeah, I think I was kind of frozen in shock, like questioning my sanity for a while. I think I just did the same thing I normally do on an off day. I just got up, got something to eat, and once like when I was awake enough to like fully process what I saw, I did a little bit of research on it, and I I just want to know, am I crazy, or is there something to it? And like I said, I don't know if it's actually like fairies exist as their own unique entity, or if it's like a demonic um, projection. I don't know, but what I saw felt very real to me.
After this happened, did you like investigate the spot where it happened, the backyard, or look around?
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm a very outdoorsy guy, so obviously I went out and looked around, and it just looked like an old day, minus the weeds that I needed to mow and eventually got to. But I never seen anything like that again.
Right.
Have you spoken like to anyone or have like seen anything online that like relates to your experience at all?
I've yeah, actually, I've seen testimonials. I've seen there's actually, well, I don't know if they're real, but I've seen videos of people purporting to have footage of fairies, people telling um their own experiences and things like that. And I know it sounds kind of ironic because I'm some guy on the internet, but when you hear somebody on the internet, you obviously have the desire to believe it, and obviously a healthy degree of skepticism, I think. Um, oh yeah, and another guy that claimed to saw fairies was a very famous poet by William Blake, or William Blake, the guy that wrote Tiger Tiger. He claimed to have seen a fairy funeral, and so again, there's pretty big names that saw claimed to have seen these things, big names that were involved with investigating it. I want to say actually the Fairy Investigation Society well, it eventually went away for a while, but they brought it back, and it still exists today online.
You said right. You didn't only just encounter a fairy, right? You also ended up having another encounter with like a ghost.
Yes, that actually was a very long time before that, and the crazy story about that is, when you're a child, when you experience something like the ghost sighting that I saw, um, you don't. For me, like I rationalized it away, and it was only until years later that I realized what actually happened. I can explain it. So when I want to say I was around 10 years old. Me and my family, we lived in a trailer. It was very small, 2 bedrooms. One was my parents, and one I shared with my little sister at the time. She was about 5. And we had a sliding glass door. And I was laying in bed one night, and I um I woke up and I was looking at the door that slides right, and I saw this little girl. She wasn't very big, probably like 4 feet something. She had long blonde hair. She wore what looked like a white blouse, almost something old timey, or maybe like something somebody would wear to bed. And the thing that is really weird about it is the face. The face was not discernible. It was covered in a shadow. It was blackness. And at the time, I thought it was just my little sister. And I thought, oh, it's just my sister. So I rolled over to the other side of my bed. And as I looked down, I see my little sister in her sleeping bag. So I realized, wait, she couldn't have got there that fast. And I remember being a little bit scared, but I thought, oh, it's probably nothing. And now looking back on it, knowing that I was one of 2 kids and the other was asleep, and to me, I do believe there was something paranormal. What's actually really crazy too, what adds to it, is I live down the street from a cemetery, a
Oh,
graveyard,
there you go.
and yeah, and here's where it really goes a whole nother level, right? So I had this idea. I thought, okay, like I wonder if there's like a website from the cemetery. I wonder if like I can read the names of people who are in the cemetery, right? And there is. And I looked it up, and there was only one person that matched that little girl's description, and she was a 6-year-old girl named Emily who died in the 1800s.
Damn.
Oh,
Yeah, and so and another reason why that can't be my sister is the girl had blonde hair. My little sister had brown hair. So like I said, we were the only kids, and you couldn't see its face, and that's what haunts me today is the fact you couldn't. It was just blackness.
So wait, so it was just like watching you?
Yeah, it's like from a scary movie, man. Like it was just looking through the window, watching me the whole time, and and it wasn't very long, just long enough for me to get uncomfortable and think it was my sister. Um, yeah, and again, going back to my religious background, at the time, well, I rationalized it away later, but now looking back on it, knowing it's paranormal, I'm kind of in 2 camps. Do I believe that it was the ghost of that little girl Emily? Because the whole connection of the graveyard and the one person that was a little girl is kind of suspect. But I, again, my personal belief is I think ghosts are usually demonic entities, and that's like their way to lure you in, to let your guard down, thinking it's the spirit of your loved one. So again, I'm not sure which one it was, but yeah, that wasn't a real little girl. It's Man, it's a haunting experience.
Actually, kind of crazy, especially since you're near like a graveyard and everything.
Yeah, it was. It's pretty wild, man. I have to do a little bit of digging, but I could probably even show you the graveyard list.
so she looked like a solid real person, or was she like transparent?
No, she didn't look transparent. She looked solidish to me.
And her eyes were
But
focused on you the whole time?
no, I couldn't see her eyes. I couldn't see her face at all. That was the
Oh,
only
right.
thing I couldn't see. Her entire face was a shadow.
But
It
you
was total
knew,
blackness.
but you knew she was staring.
Well, yeah, I got that vibe because it was just standing there,
Right.
right in my direction. So it felt like it was watching me.
Did she move at all, or just kept watching?
Well, when I woke up, I didn't get out of bed. I just I looked at it for a second and I got a little bit scared and rolled over and looked down and saw my sister beside my bed in a sleeping bag. So, yeah. And again, it was another short encounter that had a long-lasting impact. Um, I don't know if it was a ghost. I don't know if it was a demon, but I don't believe it was a person. I just don't see it.
Did anything happen in that house after it that was strange to you?
No, not that I remember. Again, I was a young kid. It would be pretty interesting to ask my relatives and see if, maybe they had a story. That maybe they saw something,
Right.
But that's the only thing I encountered. Yeah, and I don't know. It depends on if you want to go with the ghost angle. Maybe that might have been where she lived when she was alive, and obviously little children would be attracted to other little children. If you want to go with that route, if it was demonic, well, it may have been wanting to get closer to kids, to possession, influence. Yeah, that's a dark subject. Again, that you in my background as a Christian, I think you have to have knowledge of those things to be prepared for it. But you gotta put on the full armor of God for that kind of stuff. It's no joke.
Wait, so did it just like watch from the window like all night? Like, did it like disappear after like you looked back or anything?
I didn't look back. I was too afraid.
Ah, right. That's kind of real. I was about to say, like, I mean, if there was just somebody watching me through the window, I probably wouldn't be able to fall asleep.
Oh yeah, it was unsettling, but again, it's one of those things when you're a child, you have a way of. I was afraid, but I had a way of like rationalizing it away. And now as an adult with a better discernment of reality, I know that it wasn't just nothing. Um, yeah, I mean, I know my family. They've had other experiences. This is a totally different story. They lived in a haunted castle. Crazy story, but true. So, um, it's I'm not sure. Maybe something follows us around, or if we're just lucky in that regard. I don't know.
I mean, you say you were near a cemetery. I feel like that sort of is probably like the most likely place to find like spirits walking around.
Oh yeah, I mean, again, it was one of those things when I was putting the pieces back together again as an adult. It just made too much sense. Living down the street from my graveyard, going through the archives and finding only one little girl that was 6 years old that would match her description perfectly. I mean, that was yeah, I mean, that's some spine tingling stuff.
Have you heard anything from anyone else that lives on that street? Maybe about any other weird paranormal things that have happened?
No, I haven't lived there since I was younger, but it would be very interesting if I, you know, tried to follow it up a little bit, maybe talk to the people that live there and see if they've had any encounters. I kind of want to do that now, because I have a feeling I'm not alone.
Yeah, because I mean, if there is something like haunting, from that cemetery, it'd be weird for them to just haunt to haunt once at one house and then just call it a day, call it quits.
Yeah, that's so weird that nothing else happened there. Because the fairy's a separate
Well,
place, right?
oh yeah.
Right.
That took place as the fairy I saw as an adult. The ghost encounter that happened when I was, I want to say 10, 19-ish, something like that. I was just a little kid.
Sometimes these spirits like to follow and feed off of people. Maybe.
Oh yeah, I believe that. And if we have time, well, it's not an intrusion. There is a crazy story I have about this haunted castle. But that's not going too far.
Let's hear it.
If If you'd like to talk to Michael Paul or Mr. Curbs, shoot an email to theSinisterDistrict@gmail.com. That's theSinisterDistrict@gmail.com. You can also join the Sinister District Discord server in the description. This is the Sinister District.
Okay, awesome. This is a real place, mind you. It's a real place. It's called the Loveland Castle. Here, well, I'm gonna out myself. I'm in Ohio. But the background of this castle was a man named Harry Andrews. He fought in World War One. He was really moved by the story of knights and chivalry, and when he fought there, he got hurt really bad, so bad that they actually thought that he passed away. And when he was in the hospital, actually the morgue, they wrote a letter to his wife telling him he passed away, and she wound up marrying someone else. Really sad. But what happened as he was laying on the, they're doing the autopsy, right? And when they cut into him, he bled. And fun fact, corpses actually don't bleed, so they realized he was alive. So they injected him with adrenaline. So he woke up. He came back to Ohio, very brokenhearted because his wife was gone. He became very religious. He became the leader of a Boy Scout troop that he named the Knights of the Golden Trail. And he taught them about the Bible. He taught them the code of honor of knights. And he would take them out and teach them, Boy Scout stuff. It was a Boy Scout troop, how to make fires, how to shoot bows and arrows. And the little boy said to Harry, he said, "Harry, how can we be knights if we don't have a castle?" And Harry thought about it, and he's like, "Yeah, you're right." So what he did was really badass. He built a castle himself, using buckets of rocks from a river, the Little Miami River, and he built a castle over 50 years. And he eventually lived in it, and still stands to this day. And his Boy Scout troop still exists. But here's where it gets kind of crazy. So my dad, when he was a kid, he was part of that group, as was my grandfather. This takes place after Harry passed away. Their house burnt down, so the Knights decided to let my father and his family move into the castle when he was just a little boy at the time. And both my grandmother, my father, my aunts, they all told me the same stories. Really strange things would happen in the castle, like empty rooms would have heavy footsteps where nobody would be. There was a rocking chair that would move on its own. There was a chest where the pieces would move by themselves. And my dad, he told me, when I was a kid, I thought it was just the adults playing tricks on us. But no, I know it's not. My grandma, she told me a story one day they were at dinner, and like a salad bowl just threw itself across the room, and they just all kind of panicked, not knowing what happened.
Oh.
Oh yeah, it just flew across the room.
That one's hard to miss.
Yeah, yeah, and but where it gets really crazy and really hard to dismiss for me is, okay, so my grandmother background, she had a really large family. She had 8 siblings, so all her siblings and their families came over to the castle, right? And so the guys, this was back in the 80s, so all the guys are upstairs, smoking cigars, playing cards like a typical, 80s guy would do. And all the mothers, they went downstairs to where the little kids were. They were putting the kids to bed, right? And this is a story that my mother told, not my mother, my grandmother, my father, my aunt, they all told me the story. The mothers were putting the kids to bed. There's like a flight of stairs that leads upwards to the rest of the staircases. And as they were getting ready to put the kids to bed, they saw a figure, a translucent figure, like creep around the corner, putting its fingers to its mouth, like to make a shushing sound.
Oh.
And Oh yeah, and then it came out. They saw it. They all saw it. My dad said it looked like an alien. Like its eyes were bulgy and black, and its body was translucent. It looked at them for a minute, and it ran up back the staircase. And again, the thing that's so crazy about this, it's not just one person that saw it. I have 3 witnesses that all told me they saw it, and other witnesses that I haven't talked to personally yet, but likely would authenticate it too. So we have probably potentially 10 witnesses to this thing.
Oh, come on.
Damn.
That's crazy.
Oh yeah, and look, it's a crazy story, but I mean, I definitely encourage you guys and your listeners look up Harry Andrews, look up the Loveland Castle. It's called Chateau Lover. Oh shit, I'm gonna forget the
This-
name. Just look at Loveland Castle. You'll find
Loveland Castle. So that's similar to the
Loveland
Loveland
Castle.
Frogman. Then.
it. Yeah,
Same,
yep.
same area.
That's true. Same place. Yeah, yeah. That's another crazy story.
Hmm.
A lot of
Wait.
crazy things in my neck of the woods.
I feel like one of the craziest parts about that story. How fast did the guy's wife leave him? Like that sounds. It sounds like she left him like really fast. Like it doesn't sound like he was pronounced dead for that long.
Oh,
It doesn't sound like he was pronounced dead for that long for him to be like, oh well, I'm getting remarried.
I love that everything. That's the thing that you remember.
I remember
That's
hearing
awesome.
that, and it was just like, I was just like, wait a minute. His wife got over that really fast.
I know. And the poor guy was heartbroken. He died a really horrible death, actually. He burnt to death. He was out one day burning trash, and he caught fire. And a lot of people today that don't know any better will say, "Oh, it's Harry that's haunting the castle." That's not true. That's not true. I know this because my aunt, who's a little bit older than my dad, told me that the ghost was there when he was alive, and that he used to talk about it all the time and say, "Oh yeah, you hear boots in the empty room. That was just the ghost." So Harry is not the ghost. And again, it kind of begs the question, like, is it a ghost? Is it a demon? I don't know. But yeah, even today, even to this day, people still have experiences, and I highly encourage you guys and your listeners to look it up. It's all
Yeah,
on the docket.
I just looked it up. It says it's like a museum now, and you can rent it out for weddings.
Yeah. Yep, you still have Harry's office. Oh, fun fact is a fun little tidbit. There's an American flag there that my grandmother, who came over from Germany during the Nazi era, made herself. Just a little fun fact.
ooh. And so you never went there, though.
I have not yet. I live about an hour away. I want to. I just haven't gone around to it.
Yeah, I just googled it. It says there's been multiple accounts of people seeing mysterious dark figures and experiencing playful ghostly pranks.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But like all these things are saying it's haunted by Harry Andrews. It's like
No,
Harry
that's wrong.
Andrews is wandering. So then, what do you think is haunting it then? Why is it haunted?
Well, I know it's not Harry because, again, I have relatives that actually were part of his Boy Scout troop, and Harry talked about it before he passed away, how it was haunted. And in fact, he actually tried to. I don't understand it very well, but do you know the thing that people do where they take like a radio and they try to communicate with ghosts, right?
Right? Spirit box.
He tried doing that. Well, this was would have been back in the 70s, 80s. So I think he might have used a radio or something, but he's tried to see if like he could communicate with it. I don't know how that turned out, but that's what I've heard, at least. Yeah, I really do not believe that the ghost is Harry. That's not true. But what I do know, I'm pretty sure that he built it very close to Indian burial ground, if my memory serves me correct. So that
sure.
kind of adds another layer to it.
Yeah. Wait, so I kind of forgot. How did your family end up staying in that castle? Were they like friends with? So they were like friends with him, and he like did he lend it to them to stay in?
So, I don't remember if this happened when Harry was alive or after he died, but what happened was my my grandfather was a part of Harry's Boy Scout troop. Once you graduate from it, you become a knight. My grandpa was a knight. He was a secretary, or no, he was the treasurer for the castle. So he was actually part of the group that helped kids, train kids and stuff. And my dad was what they called a squire. He was working his way up to becoming a knight. So after their house burnt down, the knights allowed my family to live there.
That's all right. That's nice. Yeah, it says Harry passed away in 1955, so I'm guessing it was probably after he passed away.
I think that's wrong.
Right? He didn't die in 1955. That's what it
I think
says.
that might be a mistake because my dad's not that old and he met her.
Yeah,
and-
that's what I was. That's what I was gonna say. In order for your dad to meet him, you'd have to be pretty old.
Yeah, that seems like an error to me.
Let me look
Well,
it
I
up.
see here in 1981 he caught on fire.
Yep, that's how he died. Yeah, he got
Maybe-
gangrene and wound up dying.
Yeah. Wait, hold up. Wait, no, this is Harry Andrews Writer. Is this him?
No, I think that's a different Harry Andrews.
All right, yeah. Wait, hold up. I found 1890 to 1981. All right, that makes more sense.
Yep, that's him.
So maybe there was. I guess there's a different Harry Andrews out there.
Wow, I can't believe he built this. This thing looks intricate.
And mind you, he built up from buckets of rocks from the Little Miami River over 50 years. That meant he could use milk cartons to shape the molds, but he built it for 50 years and he died there.
This is really
So-
amazing. This is like
Oh, yeah,
medieval
so-
times level building, but this was right recently in the 1900s. Wow.
Yeah, and there's actually a little bit of a, it's a little different, but there's definitely a tragedy to his life that I could expand upon if we still have time for it.
Yes.
Okay, so fun fact, that poor guy, he got beat up and robbed many times. He would have a donation box that the knights would contribute to, and people used to break into it, beat him up, steal it. And my dad recounts when he was a kid that the knights would go up to the top of the castle, and if people tried coming in, they would throw water balloons and rocks and stuff at them. And it was a crazy time. It was the 80s, you know. He was a really kind, sweet man who went through a lot of suffering, a lot of Christ-like suffering in my eyes, and he dedicated the rest of his life towards helping young boys become men, and that's such a powerful thing to me. He was a great man.
I mean, yeah, it does seem like he definitely went through a lot of hardship, especially the way he died. I mean, he died at 91, which means he lived a long life, but he died from a trash fire, which I feel like is usually not the most common way for a 91-year-old to pass away. It's pretty tragic.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking.
Yeah, it doesn't sound right that he would be like haunting the place.
No, he was a good, sweet soul. It was definitely haunted before he died. It just became popular since he built it and died there.
That's probably just the most easiest connection for people to make in their heads.
Yep, exactly. But that's not the true story.
Now I wonder how the Frogman correlates. Maybe through that Indian tribe. We'll have to have an episode.
Well,
on
I
that.
think he just lives in that same area in Ohio.
Well, actually, there actually is a little bit of a connection there, believe it or not.
Do tell.
Okay, so remember how I told you that I could be wrong, but I'm fairly certain where he built the castle was pretty close to Indian burial grounds.
Right.
So, and again, this next part I can't authenticate, even though I've done a lot of research on the Frogman. There is a myth or like a folklore that it descended from a water demon called the Shanawak that was along the Little Miami River, which is along the same area where the castle was built.
Oh, wait, so it was like spotted in like this around the same area as the castle.
Yeah, it's a little bit complicated. There's a little bit of a the Frogman story is really wild. It's a really interesting tale of how it's kind of like a game of telephone. You know how it starts one way and then ends another.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the folklore usually goes that it was based off a water demon that lived along the lived along the Little Miami River, and the tribe was the Shawnee tribe.
Oh, okay. So a businessman driving near Loveland late at night said he saw 3 small humanoid creatures about 3 to 4 feet tall. They had frog-like faces. Well, it looks like there's multiple sightings, so it probably differentiates for different people.
Apparently, in Loveland, every year in March, they have a Frogman festival. So, if you're watching this in March, happy Frogman Day.
Yeah. Well, if I could just add one little tidbit, in my opinion, it was actually an alien because this is an example of how, I mean, like again, I don't know if I'm sure, but if you look into it, it originates from a UFO sighting and the guy that said he saw aliens. Fun fact.
Interesting. I mean, has there been like any recent sightings of the Frogman? Is a lot of the sightings I see were like back in the day.
Actually,
Apparently-
yes.
There has.
Yes, there was an alleged sighting that took place in 2016 where there was a photograph and a video. Um, it was a guy named Sam Jacobs. He purported to have seen it uh, around a synagogue. There's a lake called Lake Isabella, and if you YouTube it, there's actually a video of what he saw. I don't know if it was real or not, but it's what he purports to have seen.
Huh. You know what? I wonder if the thing that your family saw was the frogman with those big bulging eyes just ran upstairs.
You never know. It's a possibility.
It's all
The
connected.
truth is out there.
The castle sits right where the river and woods were, where the sightings happened. So, who knows? I mean, another encounter says one of them was saw a frogman holding a wand that sparked when he raised it. You got a
That's just a
magician.
wizard.
Yeah. So actually, again, I don't want to true, but actually, if you go back far enough, it was actually it was a short order cook whose name was Robert Honeycutt, and he described aliens. And there's actually even there was a UFO sighting according to the Loveland the GOC. I can't remember what that stands for, but they kind of used to observe the skies during the Cold War. But yeah, his sighting correlated to a UFO sighting. So fun fact.
You think the Frogman is just like an alien frog?
Well, so actually, he described them as being kind of like gray aliens, but like hunchbacks. So what he did say is that their mouths were didn't have lips. They had like like a slit mouth, and he said that their mouths looked like a frog. He described the aliens as like almost like gray aliens, but because he gave that notable description of a frog-shaped mouth, that's how over time it developed into a frog person.
So the actual just like humanoid, like 4 foot tall frog person, most likely doesn't exist, but there was like an alien sighting that just got like misconstrued.
Mhm.
That makes more
Yeah.
sense. 'Cause I'm not gonna lie, a lot of this, I started looking at some footage of supposed frogmen sightings. A lot of these just look like someone just saw like a big frog in the dark, and like it just like they're sitting on a log that just makes it look like slightly bigger. Like I thought that explanation actually makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, his encounter, Robert Honeycutt, it's really it's a pretty crazy story. I would highly recommend looking it up. There's a really great book about it. It's called look up Leonard Stringfield. He interviewed Robert Honeycutt, and he did a pretty good job of explaining how the story evolved.
Yeah, that also does sound. That does sound pretty accurate for like, I guess like the press or like media to do. Like some guy says he sees an alien that looks kind of frog-like, and then they turn it into the Frogman,
Mhm.
even though it's
Mhm.
not. It's not a giant frog.
It wasn't a businessman that saw it either. What actually happened? It's really funny. So, the guy that I told you about actually was a short order cook, but the businessman that was a mistake. There's a totally separate sighting of a guy that said that he saw little men, who was actually a police officer. That was an error that was made in a UFO magazine called SOFO that was later corrected. And as time went on, these two accounts were actually like merged together.
I want to think it's like a mutant, but it doesn't sound like that.
Well, if anyone has seen a giant frog man, feel free to hit us up. We'd love to be proven wrong.
Or ghost squirrel, or... Well, I mean... What do you think about all this, Derek? I mean, I hope you continue seeing things that are good, not bad. Like the fairy seemed not too evil to me, but we don't know.
I hope so, man. I hope so.
Well, Curbs, final thoughts. What do you think? What is the fairy?
What is the fairy? Probably a fairy. I mean, what else can you? How else can you explain a humanoid? Little person with wings. Sounds pretty fairy to me.
I think this might be like a spiritual sign. Because he was looking through different things at the time, like cults and stuff, and maybe this was a sign.
Yeah, maybe the fairy was a recruiter.
Maybe it was really an angel. We don't know.
Could be. I like to think that.
As for the ghost girl, I think that's a ghost girl. I mean, it seemed like a haunting, especially near the cemetery. So that's what I think for that.
I always get so shocked when like one person has so many, like paranormal encounters and stuff. I mean, I've yet to see anything, but we've interviewed people that have just seen like a ton of shit, and it's all like, so a lot of it's just like not correlated, and I'm just like, wow, like what are the odds?
It tends to multiple things to one person. I don't know why. Yeah,
In my defense, I'm in Ohio.
Yeah, all the cryptids don't live in New York because it's too expensive. They don't got money like that.
All right. Well, any final thoughts from Derek?
Oh man, thank you guys so much for hearing my stories. I appreciate you guys rock. I look forward to listening to your show more.
Thank you for the support.
All right, from the Sinister District and the Great Beyond, thank you so much for listening. And remember, look outside your windows because there may be something flying. That's a fairy. Or maybe it's not a fairy. Good night.
Okay, this was the worst one you've done. That was the worst one you've done. Get it? Like a fairy? Because we did a fairy episode.